What happened between Randy Vazquez and Shohei Ohtani was not just a hit-by-pitch. It was the moment an entire rivalry exploded, and the man who told the world exactly what was going on wasn't a manager, wasn't an analyst, wasn't even a veteran. It was Andy Pages. A young outfielder who had been screamed at the night before, who said nothing in response, and then went out and did something far louder. But before we get to Pages, let us start at the beginning. Because the events of that third inning didn't come out of nowhere. They had been building for 3 days, boiling slowly beneath the surface, and when they finally erupted, baseball showed exactly who it is during moments of pressure. What actually happened in that third inning, and why did it feel so different from a normal hit-by-pitch? To understand it, you have to look at the sequence. Vazquez threw his first pitch to Ohtani on a 0-0 count, an inside fastball that brushed him back off the plate, just above the knee. Ball 1. Now, inside pitches happen in baseball. That alone is nothing. But the very next pitch, Vazquez fired another fastball, even further inside, and it struck Ohtani directly in the right thigh at 94 miles per hour. The crowd at Dodger Stadium erupted with boos immediately. Ohtani spun around and limped toward first base. What was extraordinary was what came next. Despite being struck, despite limping, Ohtani was laughing and talking with Padres first baseman Luis Arraez within seconds. That tells you something about Ohtani's composure. He understood the game. He didn't escalate anything. He simply walked to first. But Dave Roberts did not take it so quietly. Roberts had watched his best player, the most valuable two-way player in baseball history, get hit deliberately on a 0-0 count with nobody on base and 1 out, in an apparent retaliation for Tatis being plunked by Trevino in the same inning. The umpires warned both benches. Crew chief Marvin Hudson specifically told Roberts not to come out of the dugout. Roberts came out anyway. He walked to the third base line and had an increasingly animated conversation with Hudson, gesturing sharply, saying over and over, "I just want to talk." Third base umpire Trip Gibson joined the discussion and threw Roberts out. First ejection of his season. 13th of his career. From a pitcher's perspective, what Vazquez did in that sequence was not subtle. When a right-handed pitcher goes cross-court with a fastball to hit a left-handed batter, a batter as dangerous as Ohtani, it is not a coincidence. Roberts said it himself afterward. "This is a right-handed pitcher going cross-court to hit Shohei up and in. That's a hard throw." He added he, absolutely, believed it was intentional. Vazquez denied it. Shildt denied it. But the sequence of 2 consecutive inside pitches, the second landing in Ohtani's leg, told a different story in the eyes of anyone watching closely. After Roberts was ejected, Padres manager Mike Shildt came onto the field and spoke with the umpires. Roberts was furious about what happened next. What exactly was the issue? This is where the controversy deepened beyond the hit-by-pitch itself. After Roberts was tossed and sent to his office, Shildt walked out onto the field and had a calm conversation with crew chief Marvin Hudson and home plate umpire Ryan Blakeney. Hudson's explanation afterward? Shildt simply asked about the warnings and asked about pitching inside, and Hudson told him the warnings did not mean they could not pitch inside. Shildt walked back to his dugout. He stayed in the game. Roberts was watching from his office on the monitor when he saw this. And he made his feelings clear afterward. "I wanted an explanation of what's going on for their decision-making. And I got run," he said. "And then I see the opposing manager get the same courtesy of an explanation, and he stays in the game. So there's just no consistency with that." From an outside perspective, Roberts has a legitimate point. If the rule is that managers should not come onto the field after warnings are issued, that rule has to apply to both dugouts equally. Roberts came out and was ejected. Shildt came out, later in the same inning, and was allowed to stay. The umpires had an explanation, but the inconsistency was visible and real. Whether you are a Dodgers fan or a Padres fan, consistency in officiating is what everyone deserves, and on this night it was not there. Before all of this, the night before, Padres manager Mike Shildt was caught on a TV broadcast yelling at Andy Pages. What did he say, and what happened the next night? This is the part of the story that baseball fans will remember long after the controversy fades. The night before Ohtani was plunked, the Monday game, Dodgers outfielder Andy Pages was hit by a pitch from Padres starter Dylan Cease. Pages reacted with emotion, staring in Cease's direction. Cameras caught Shildt in the Padres dugout screaming toward Pages. "Who the hell do you think you are?" It made the rounds on social media within hours. By the next morning, every baseball fan in the country had seen it. And Pages himself had seen it too. When asked about it the following day, he was almost calm in his response. "I actually saw it this morning," he said through interpreter Juan Dorado. Obviously didn't pay much attention to it. "I left yesterday's game behind, and I focused on today." Those were not empty words. Because what Pages then did on the field that Tuesday night, the same night Ohtani was hit and Roberts was ejected, was one of the great individual answers in this rivalry's history. He went 4 for 4. He hit a go-ahead home run in the second inning. He hit a tying home run in the fourth, the first multi-homer game of his regular season career. He added an RBI single in the sixth during a 5-run rally. 3 runs driven in. 4 hits. 2 home runs. In a game full of tension and controversy, Pages was utterly unbothered. Max Muncy, Pages' teammate, was asked about Shildt's comment afterward. His answer was short and perfect. "I think Andy spoke for himself today," Muncy said. "I think Andy told him who he was today." What do Vazquez's punishment and the fallout from this series say about where the Dodgers-Padres rivalry stands right now? It says that this is no longer just a competitive division race. It has become something more personal. When Roberts declared Ohtani's plunking intentional, "It's not a misfire. I do feel it was intentional." And when Shildt responded by defending his team while insisting there was no intent, these are two opposing narratives that cannot both be true. And both sides know that. From a broader baseball perspective, this is exactly the kind of series that tests a team's character. The Dodgers had their manager ejected early. They had their best player hit on a 0-0 count. They had a young outfielder screamed at by the opposing manager the night before. And their response, collectively, was to go out and win. Pages hit 2 home runs. Will Smith delivered a 12-pitch at-bat that ended in a go-ahead 2-run blast. The Dodgers scored 8 runs and won 8-6. That is the character of a championship team. For Vazquez, the weight of this moment will follow him. Not because of one pitch, baseball players hit batters. That is part of the sport. The issue is the context. The sequence. The pattern across 3 nights. And when a pitcher hits Shohei Ohtani, the man leading baseball with a 1.58 ERA as a pitcher and 17 home runs and 56 runs scored as a hitter, in an obvious retaliation situation, the consequences extend beyond his personal statistics. They become part of the story of this rivalry. Pages said he answered with his bat. He did. But perhaps the clearest answer came from the scoreboard itself, 8-6, Dodgers, in a game that began with a hit by pitch, an ejection, a controversy over officiating, and a manager screaming from a dugout. Baseball can be a complicated, emotional, sometimes messy sport. But on nights like this one, it also reminds you exactly why you watch. Because the game always responds. And on this night, it responded through a 25-year-old outfielder from Cuba who was told he was nobody, and went out and hit 2 home runs to prove otherwise. That is what Andy Pages exposed. Not just who he is, but who this Dodgers team is. And that is the whole truth.